everybody. This is Billy with the tech office here in Marysville Schools, and today I'm just going to be talking to you with the assistance of James, who obviously, as you can see in the meeting here, has not joined the meeting yet and will be here shortly. But today I'm going to get his assistance with showing you how to share your screen or have your students share their screen. We've had the request from a couple of different teachers. Art teacher in specific was Mr. Weller had asked if it would be possible to allow the students to share their screen, and that is true, we can, but there are a couple of best practices that I want to demonstrate to you to make certain that you don't wind up with a situation that you don't want. Looks like Caitlin is joining. I need to make sure that is James, actually. So one thing I want to note to you is you're going to see that in the participants list, it comes up with someone's name. You can then decide whether or not you want that person to join your meeting. This is a great tool. We have heard of instances where people have bombed into a Zoom meeting and been able to post inappropriate content. The way we have mitigated that is by enabling the waiting room and also requiring passwords on the meetings. So with that being said, as soon as James gets connected, we're going to get through the process of getting him in the meeting, and we'll have him share a screen with you guys, and I'll show you how to give and take away rights on certain options and go from there. But we're going to deal specifically in that participants tab. So be right back with you here shortly. All right, so we do have James here who has joined, and again, the waiting room has kicked in here so that he is sitting in the waiting room. You are able to message them, and you're able to say, "Hello, we will be with you shortly." That way they know that someone has noticed that they are in there, and you can actually respond to them and tell them that you'll be able to admit them here shortly. So once you're ready to bring that student in, you can go ahead and click on the blue admit button, and that brings them into the meeting. So as soon as James gets his audio connected, and it looks like he's added a second one as well, and we will go ahead and add that one also. And I'll wait on James has got his audio. Looks like you got another one that's connected too, James. Did your phone get connected also?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to boot that one out of here. I'm demonstrating a couple of different things, not only just the screen share piece for a student, but I am also demonstrating some of the different functions that are available as a host and how you can control the meeting via these options. So it looks like James's other connection has gone by the wayside now, and you'll notice you also have the gallery view option, folks, up here at the top. So we click on that and we see both people. Your students do not have that option on their screens, that they're not able to actually see the gallery view piece. And okay, so again, the students do not have the option when they join via the browser to be able to enable that gallery view. So they're going to be stuck with the speaker view. So whoever is the dominant speaker at the time should be the one that's appearing on their screen at that point. So you can also spotlight video. We'll get into that here in just a second. But in order for you to be able to allow a student to share their screen, so in the instance we were talking about, Mr. Weller was asking about sharing student artwork or student stuff that they've done on their computer. Is there a way to make that happen? There is, but I do want to toss some caution out there and say you need to make certain that you are managing that sharing piece to a T. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to provide co-hosting rights to that student. And James is going to pose as our student today. I asked him to find something to pull up on his screen. So what you're going to do is in the participants list, you're going to go up and click on the More option for James's account here. And we're going to give him co-hosting rights. It's going to confirm and ask if you want to make him a co-host. You say yes. James's display will now change and should give him the option to share his screen. Does it, James?
Yeah, it does. Here we go.
So James is going to share a screen for us. And look at that. He's pulled up an awesome Pikes Peak at Fall picture for us on his screen. The students will be able to use their Google Drive. They can pull a picture up that they've done on Google Drive. However you're handling it in your classroom, you're going to be able to make certain that they can share their screen. Now, when they are done, the students need to be instructed to go ahead and stop the screen share by clicking Stop Share at the top of their window. And they should be able to see that. It's a little red button up at the top there. And it brings them back to the video view. At that point, you need to remove the co-hosting rights from that student. And the reason we say that is because we want to make certain that we don't get into an instance where a student winds up sharing some inappropriate content. Not that we can't discipline them for that, but it's one of those, just a classroom management piece that we need to make sure we're abiding by. And the way I did that was I went up to James's tab. I'm going to give him those co-hosting rights one more time. And I come up here and I click on More. And then I'm going to go down to Withdraw Co-host Permission. Once you do that, it does remove the screen share option. Does it not, James? It doesn't show your screen share option anymore, does it?
I actually can see it, but it says most disabled ability switch.
Awesome. That's exactly what we want it to say. Now, real quickly, I'm going to talk through a couple of other options that you have available underneath that More tab and within the participants list here. So the first off is I can mute everybody in one shot. You have a mute all button. So let's say you have 15 kids in your room and they are all wide open mics, and it is to a point where you cannot control it and you want to cut everything immediately. You click on the mute all option and it asks you to confirm. You can actually allow them to unmute themselves, or you can uncheck this box and then you as the host would have to re-unmute them afterwards. So when I click continue, James is now muted. James, try to talk for us. And we can't hear him right now. So everyone is muted at that point. You can unmute all, and that brings James back. There he is with his voice again. And again, you have that option to be able to say they can unmute themselves, but if it's one that gets out of control, you can uncheck this box and hit continue, and it will mute them. And James, go ahead and try to unmute yourself. I just want to make sure that that's the case, that it won't let that happen. Yep, it's giving him an X, won't let him do an unmute, so I'll unmute them all again. Now he's able to talk again. So, that's the first one. Under the participants list again, you have the mute participants on entry. That's already on by default anyways, so you won't need to worry about that. Allow participants to unmute themselves. That's already on by default as well. You won't need to worry about that setting. We'll talk about lock meeting in another video, and then I'm going to come up to the individual list and show these as well. So James, stand by. I'm going to put you into the waiting room, and when you come back to us, I want you to describe to everybody what you see. Some of you may have noticed before we enabled the waiting room that this may have said put attendee on hold. It's the same type of option, but I'm going to have James describe to you what he sees. So here we go. We're going to put James in the waiting room. We're going to leave him there. You'll notice that it does change his status up here in the participants view, and then I'm going to go ahead and let him back into the meeting, and James comes back in. And James, what did you see?
Yeah, it said Billy Ruin's personal meeting, and it said please stand by. And you can test out your audio, and that's what too.
Great. So yes, it does display a window that shows that the host had put you in the waiting room, but it does not kick them out of the meeting entirely. It allows you to bring them back in. But if you get a Suzy Q that is really not responding well to the classroom and is causing issues, and you need to remedy the situation immediately and be able to remove them to get control of the class, that is a way to get them out of the situation where they are no longer going to be causing issues with your class. Get your class under control, and then bring the student back in then to address that situation then later. So there's that option. Under the More tab, you have obviously again the co-host option and the allow record option. You won't necessarily need that. If you're in a meeting with staff members and you want to allow someone else to do a recording of that meeting, you could give them those rights. You can also rename them. So let's say somebody comes in with a name that's just not, what you need. It's not really an appropriate name, not necessarily vulgar in any way, shape, or form, but let's just say James's name came in as something really awkward and weird, and we want to rename him, and we'll call him his nickname that we have in the office, Jimmytron, And I'll go ahead and rename him, and then you'll notice that on the display here, it does now reflect that and shows him as Jimmytron, both in the participants list and on his video. So you can do that as well. Other than that, you can put the student's video on stop, so I can mute James's video. It does take him away. However, you as a host do not have the option to restart said video. I can ask the participant to restart their video, but you as a host cannot make their video come live without interaction from that participant. So I'm going to go ahead and click Ask to Start Video. James will go ahead and unmute his video for us. And there we go. Bada boom, bada bing. So that, folks, in a nutshell, is the participants list and the options that you have available to you. There's some other advanced things that we'll get into later on, but for the time being, I think that's it. James, I really appreciate your help today. I'll probably enlist you again at some point here, but I got 2 videos to go out today, and this was one of them, and I'm appreciative of you being able to help out with the screen share real quick. So thanks, guys. So thanks, folks. We'll talk to you later. This is Billy saying sayonara. Have a great day.